Hello, I'm about to go live with my extraordinary client, Tiffany, who has just had amazing results in her evolution, in her offerings, and in my program, the Conscious Creative Business Immersion. So Tiffany is here as the creator of the Wild Mama Master Plan, and I'm going to bring her on just right now. Amazing. Hello, Tiffany.
Oh, hi.
Two cats getting together. Wow, I'm seeing the
Oh,
nature outside your window. I wanted to let you know
yes.
we are streaming live, or remind you, we're streaming live in my Wild, Wealthy, and Well-Known Soulpreneurs group. I was just talking about you and expressing all the lovely wins that you've recently had, but I'd love for you to introduce yourself to my audience and let them know a little bit about who you are and what you're all about.
Sure. Well, hi, Christina.
Good morning.
Well, yeah, good morning. I'm Tiff. I live in Honolulu, Hawaii. And that's why it's not too bright yet. Sun is still coming up at 7 a.m. And yeah, I'm a mama. I have three kids, 15, 13, and 5. And I run a business called Wild Mama, with a cohort program called the Mama Master Plan program. I've been doing that for about 4 years now. And it's really just centered on supporting mamas coming into the fullness of their visions, helping mamas move through their stuckness, and really creating a master plan in order to create the life that they want. And it's all based on what I've done for myself to create the life that I want. I live in Hawaii, but I didn't always live here. I moved here 5 years ago from Chicago. And that was a huge dream of mine, to live in a warm location, have my own business that I can work from anywhere. And so, yeah, just help mamas make their dreams a reality.
Oh, that sounds so beautiful. I'm a cat mom. I know I say that often, but wow, to be able to do what we get to do in this life of living full out and doing it from amazing places in the world.
Mm,
Many of my audience members know I live on top of a mountain in a beautiful location in Guatemala, and
mm,
it is about having that plan and seeing it all the way through. So I'm glad that you spoke on that, and that's what your programs and offerings offer to people. And
mhm,
today I wanted to speak a little bit about what it actually takes. And this interview series sprouted from a conversation that Tiffany and I had around, there's so many coaches, there's so many people that just go out there, they start marketing their programs and they're like, live your dream life.
mm,
We're like, cool, yeah, we're doing it. But wouldn't it be lovely if more and more people spoke about what it actually took? Because to attract clients, to move to a faraway land that you've never lived before, to really go after your dreams and be living your dream life, there had to be steps and support and expansions along the way, lots of
mhm.
ebbs and flows. So today's interview is all about what it really takes. And I wanted to talk first about your amazing win that you just had, calling in 7, I think, clients. Is that
Six,
true?
6. It ended up being 6. Yeah.
6 is also a lovely number.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I just launched my 7th cohort, and yeah, called in 6 mamas. And what is beautiful is that since I've been doing this program for 4 years, I had a lot of alumni re-sign up, which for me was kind of a huge thing, because I raised my price this time more than double what it was the last round. But for some of my alumni who joined 4 years ago, they paid only like $500 or $1,000. And so some of them are paying more than 5 times, 10 times what they paid in my initial rounds. And so I was actually the most scared that alumni would not want to pay my newer price. And I have majority alumni in this cohort, and I did not offer any discounts or scholarships or anything like that, which is the first time. I've always offered That, but this time I just didn't want to. It wasn't aligned for me. And so yeah, to have six mamas pay full price for pay in full, it was fucking awesome. So yeah.
For pay in full. Wow. This is so inspiring me as well. Even though like this is what it's all about for me. I help women to launch, women and men, but soul-led leaders launch their programs and call in and their clients, their dream to work with clients. But the thing that we're really touching on in this interview series is this piece about raising your price. And what I'm hearing is that you had to really own that you were a high value guide, that your guidance is worth way more than what you maybe first started out charging, and how lucky for those mamas at the time that they received your offerings at the price that they received it in the beginning. But what I'm noticing for you and many of my clients is that once we own the value of our gifts, presence, and wisdom, it's just natural that other people are going, yes, of course. And it sounds like even some mamas were like, yeah, it should have been that price all along. And they felt really like they were getting such an amazing deal way back then. And we're willing, not only willing, but like signing up, paying in full to work with you at 5 times, even 10 times the price. How did that feel for you and your body?
Yeah, I mean, it felt great. I felt like I needed to win my alumni over, because I was like, if alumni are willing to pay, I feel like other people are willing to pay. But also, they know me the most. And so I think that because they've been around so long, they do understand the value in a different kind of way. So it speaks volumes when alumni re-sign up or want to continue to work with you. And my background is business, organizational development, strategic planning. So I also know the value of return clients. Like, you can't build a sustainable business on all new business. It has to also be returning, client retention. And so I had to like realize that my alumni are that. And I wasn't thinking about that initially. And I realized that, oh, actually my ability to retain alumni for 4 years, and folks want to then pay way more than they paid before, that actually does speak to my business, and it speaks to what I am offering and that I am bringing value to them. And so yeah, I feel like it for me, it just highlighted kind of like, I guess, what I was bringing to the table outside of just paid offerings, but just the value of the community and the transformation over time. And I'm like, oh yeah, like that's what I love. I love that about business, is it's the relationships. And I feel like that is what builds a sustainable business over time, is great relationships, trusting long-term relationships. But like, based on what you were saying earlier about like valuing myself as a high value guide, I think it was that, and it was also getting very clear on my personal goals and my financial goals, because right now I'm still working a full-time job, and I have 3 kids and a lot going on. And so I had to accept that if I truly want to grow, like, I don't want to take on too many clients right now. So in order for me to go and still reach my goals, I have to raise my price. Like, and so it wasn't only valuing myself, but it was also like I had to get very clear and committed to what I was saying that I wanted. And that was a clear way to do it, was to raise my price. And I think in raising my price, I then had to step in more to, okay, yeah, like what is the value of what I'm offering? Like, who am I? And really fucking owning it, because that's really what it takes. But it's taken me a while, to build up to this point.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And as we're talking about what it really takes, time is what I'm hearing as well. And that's something that
Mm,
you brought to our group coaching call when you were celebrating. You really
mm,
wanted to make sure that the folks that, because I work with folks who are either designing or refining their offerings.
mm,
You were
mm,
in the refinement phase, and
yeah.
you saw that there were some folks in our cohort that were designing their offering for the first time. And so I really
Mhm,
thought it was beautiful and in integrity that you were really open around how long you've been doing this.
mm,
And it doesn't have to take 4 years to be confident around our ability to put out offers. And it was quicker for you. I mean, you've been doing this for 4 years, but what I'm hearing of what it takes and longer, 4 years is like, maybe the offering has been out,
Yeah,
but
for
longer.
sure.
Longer. This is a
Longer.
lifelong dream. Long. Out the womb. We're like born for something bigger. And I wanted to reveal to the audience as well of like, we think we're going to hire the coach and our first time launching, we're going to have this $100,000 launch. And for
Yeah.
some people that, I'm not going to squish anyone's dreams. It could happen, but like,
Sure.
why don't you tell us about that time and the divine timing that it took for you to have that 5-figure launch this round?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time coming. And I feel like a lot of marketing coaches and just like social media really gives a false idea of what it takes for the majority of us. Yes, there are a few that will have their, 6-figure launch or whatever. But I think that like constantly putting that out as if it's the norm, it's a disservice to folks where it does take time. And for me, a big thing that I am aligning to, that my whole course and program is based on, is the sacred medicine wheel, right? It's the alignment to the seasons. So for me, it's not okay for me to burn out along the way. I was not willing to build a business at the expense of myself or my family. And so for me, I think the time piece is also alignment to my values, right? That I want to build over time and I want to build sustainably, because I know this is my life's work. This is my legacy work, and I'm building for the next 7 generations. And so for me, I'm like, yeah, I could build in a year, but if my business is gone in the next 2 years, that is not in alignment with my long-term vision. That does not serve the next 7 generations. It doesn't serve my family. It doesn't serve me. And so I think my commitment to the timing and what it's going to take, and the very non-linear path that it has taken, has been about honoring my own self. And one of my core values is to work with myself, not against myself. And so as a mama, as a woman, we have our rhythms, right? Like we have peaks, we have valleys, we go through shit. We went through a whole damn pandemic. Like, how am I supposed to like believe that I'm going to be like, just okay 100% all the time? I just don't think that that's realistic. And I've had to learn to shed those ideas based on some of I think this false narrative that we're taught and given. And so for me, I think honoring time is about my longer term vision. I'm very clear about what I'm building. I'm very clear about my vision, very clear about my values, very clear about the legacy that I want to leave. And I'm more committed to that than I am short-term growth. I have short-term wins, yes, but I've sold, big ticket items or whatever, but selling one is very different than selling many and on repeat. And I'm trying to build and sell many. And so I'm trying to build the systems. I'm trying to build like the whole structure that supports that, because I know the kind of life that I want to live. And I don't want to be working all the time, but I do want to have a 7-figure business. And so it's like, I have to know what that actually takes. And for me, it takes time. And anyone that I admire and anyone that I see truly building something, they did not get there overnight. Especially as a Black or brown woman, you definitely didn't get there overnight. And so, I think it's just a matter of like accepting reality and accepting that, things do take time. But that's also a part of the joy of living, that I can be building a business that's going to be here after I'm gone, while also enjoying my life and being with my kids and hiking and surfing and enjoying Hawaii. Like, that's more of the kind of life that I want to live. And that is my mama master plan. Like, that is my ideal lifestyle, to be building that and building my legacy while also living and enjoying my life. I'm not trying to not enjoy my life.
Why? Like, why else would we do this? Sometimes I'm like, money's meant to be spent, right? We're earning money so that we can like live nice, have a gong, right? That's so lovely. Yeah. One thing that we had worked on together. So for more context for people, again, I
Mm,
work with people who are designing their first program or they're refining their program. So you were in the
mhm.
refinement stage, and that's
Yeah.
why I had offered you at the mentorship level, because I knew there was so much more that we were going to create and co-create together because
Mhm,
you had an offer already
mhm,
designed.
mhm,
And that is around what I teach in module 4 for my people is the rhythmic revenue. And so it
mm,
was so interesting and so lovely that our core values aligned as you are desiring to create rhythms in your business,
mhm,
going with the things that you teach on with the medicine wheel and the seasons. And I just so happen to also really value that. And there will be
mhm,
seasons in our business where we might be reevaluating, or we might be not launching, but like creating
mhm,
those emails, for instance, which was one
mhm,
thing that surprised you. So we talk about a lot, having money goals, having
mhm,
real big visions, but actually having these process goals along the way so that we can
mhm,
celebrate and be seen in these structural steps that we can see that we're making progress on our
mhm,
master plan. And so one thing that had surprised you was
mhm.
how like articulate, and you knew you were a great writer, but how articulate that you would become and how many dang
Mm,
emails you would be produced over our time together. So I wanted you to talk about
yeah.
that, this surprise and how that surprised you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, one of my main goals in coming to work with you was about systematizing my launch because I did not enjoy launching. It was extremely exhausting and just like haphazard, and I didn't feel like I had like a real framework or system for it. And so that was one of my main goals was like figuring that out. And I knew launch emails would be a part of that. But I through like working with you and I think you were in a launch because I was like very early on in the launch period. So I was on your email list and so I was able to see kind of how you did your launch and I saw that you did it for a whole month. And I was like, how? Like how do you do that? How do you write an email every day? And so I think just by like seeing you do it and then witnessing your process and then recognizing what I wanted to build, which is something that I can replicate over time, I started to think about because I was doing like 2.5 maybe week launches or so, which just felt like a lot. But I never really thought about doing a month. And so I think, yeah, seeing you do it, it gave me a model that, oh, that can be done. That feels a little different. And that actually is what helped me break through with having basically doing a mini launch aligned to the medicine wheel. And so I could write my emails based on every direction, which for folks listening, that probably won't make any sense to you at all. But, but anyways, I needed a framework for it. And so seeing you do it for a month, then I saw what was possible. And then I just decided I didn't plan for a month that I was going to write 29 emails. I basically decided like the week before I was going to launch, like, I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to write an email a day. And it because it was also May. So I was like, okay, it's Mother's Day month. That's a great excuse to write an email a day. Whatever, try to build up some energy. And so yeah, I ended up writing 29 emails. Some I was ahead, some I was like the night before, and then I got sick twice that month. It's crazy, but I was very surprised with the amount that came out of me once I set my framework and I understood what I was doing and what I was writing to. It just flowed. And I was also surprised by how many people read the emails. I thought my open rate would dramatically decrease, and it didn't. It stayed at like 44%, some were 50%. And I was just like, wow, people are like opening these emails every freaking day. And sometimes I would talk to my mamas and they're like, yeah, I committed that I was going to read your email every single day this month since you were doing this. I'm like, this is crazy. So that was inspiring actually to see how many people want to hear from me, even if I'm talking to them every single day, which is like some of my old trauma that I'm healing is that people don't want to hear from me or that I'm annoying or that people are like they don't want anything to do with Tiff. So that's stuff that I'm healing. And so that was actually really like a beautiful thing to witness in the process.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing, because I know so many people and women of color who have this come up. If
Mm,
I share an email and people unsubscribe, am I being pushy? Like, do people actually want to hear? Or, isn't there a program out there like this? And
mm,
why would people buy from me? But I saw you over our time together not only face those old wiggly leftover things from our trauma and our past, but really
mm,
face it fearlessly, because that's scary to have
mm,
those things come up, and be willing to fully say yes, like this is here, and
mm,
love ourselves through that, and own the thing we committed to, because the thing
mhm.
we committed to is what is bringing that to the surface. So it's
Yeah,
like, oh goodness, the more I commit to my dream, the more old shit comes up. And this is why the power of support is there, because
yeah,
and the shit comes up, it's like we have each other to talk to. You have the community group, and I have been through this myself and seen it
mm,
hundreds of times, of like
mhm,
people just like looking at one unsubscribe and letting it hurt them. And of
mhm,
course, you just get to be gentle, because if it's trauma, then of course it's okay that it still stings a little, but are we
mhm,
committed? And what I've seen from you and what it really takes is your commitment to who you want to become, your
mhm.
commitment to that high value guide, and owning that more and more every day, of like, even if someone doesn't want to hear your emails or does unsubscribe, it's like, actually more people want to hear from Tiff. And
Yeah,
by committing to this, you actually get to show yourself that, rewire that old trauma, and get the result that you wanted. Your result
mhm.
that you wanted was more people at a higher price point and to really value you. And by you
Yeah,
valuing you and your expression, other people really were just like, yes, like I can't get enough of Tiff. Like, when's your next
yeah.
launch? Like, what do you got going on? And you may even see that folks that didn't buy this round, the beautiful thing about sustainability is that
Mhm.
they are watching. They saw you
Yeah,
launch. They're
mhm,
ready, or they're saving up for the next round. And that's the
mhm.
beauty of having a core
Yeah.
off that you relaunch.
Yeah, and that's what some people did say when they didn't join this round. Is like, yeah, I'm going to be saving for the next one, or the timing isn't right at this one, but I'll be in the fall or whatnot. But I think that for me, that was one of the like most valuable things in working with you is like you have these like little nuggets of reframes that are like personally for me like very helpful because a lot of people will tell you like change your thinking, be a positive thinker, da da da. And I'm just like, a lot of that for me is bullshit. It doesn't work for me. Like, I'm not the person that's going to just stand in front of the mirror and tell me how great I am. Like, that doesn't work for me. And so for me, I've always been someone where, like, if I have a negative thought or negative thinking, I need to find replacement thoughts. Like, it's the same with habits. Like, when I stopped drinking soda years ago, I needed a replacement, which was limeade. I created limeade to replace it with. So it's like for you, I feel like you helped me have the alternative thought or the alternative way of approaching it in a way that felt aligned to me, and that's why I enjoyed working with you, and it's also why and I did really enjoy the VIP because I knew what I needed, and I needed the one-on-one, and I needed that coaching, and I needed you to be available to me. I'm not gonna go into the Facebook group, I'm not gonna go into these other and I knew that, and I told you that from the beginning because with 3 kids, a full-time job, building a business, like, I'm not gonna be the most active person in these groups, and I knew that because I've been a part of these kinds of groups plenty of times, and I know how they're structured, but I felt like you being able to be available to me on the WhatsApp and I could message you and we had our thing going all the time and I could kind of be at my pace and offer up when I'm struggling and then you could give me reframes. I found that particularly very helpful with where I am because I am not in the beginning building. I am refining and like it's very detailed things that like questions that I have that like might not be applicable to everyone at their stage. So yeah, I feel like it was those reframes and the accessibility to you that, was like the most valuable for me.
Oh, thanks so much for sharing, because so often it's like, wow. And I want to share kind of behind the scenes of what's coming up for me in this moment of like, you all who are watching can see that Tiff is an empowered woman, right? Like that's cool. And so
Mm,
when empowered people come together and I'm able to help an empowered woman just refine a thought rather than
mhm,
working with somebody who's just like, I don't know what's next in my life. Like I'm just at the bottom of the barrel. It's like, it took me owning my value, my presence to be able to go, yes, I'm ready to help other empowered people to
mm,
refine. And it becomes
mhm,
about those 1 degree shifts and not about blowing up your business and starting from scratch or
mhm,
needing to create a whole new, another offer. And so I want to thank you for bringing and trusting your the depths of and your vulnerability with me. And for anyone watching, like whether you choose myself as a coach or you choose Tiff as a coach or guide, it's like you get to show up vulnerably. You get to
mhm,
really understand and take what you've already done, and it will elevate you into a high
mhm,
value guide status. Because becoming a high value guide is not about having perfect thoughts all the time or this kind of toxic positivity. It's about
mhm,
bringing what's real and having those blind spots being met. And because
mhm,
it's like I'm not in Tiff's business, it's like it's so much easier for me to just hear what she's saying and then go, oh, like here's that just 1 degree shift, or here's another way to look at it. And that is the power of the work that we get to do, and anyone
mhm,
watching is probably wanting to do in their lives. And I
mhm.
wanted to ask, like, how has this environment and this container helped you to own that, like, wow, you're actually a high value guide for your people and help them even deeper than you. I mean, you do help your people so incredibly, but actually seeing that, has that affected the way you see the way your coaching has evolved people?
You mean like being in the business immersion has helped me?
Yeah, and owning your
Mm.
owning your gifts as a channel and high value guide. That's something we've been
Yeah,
talking
I
about
mean,
too.
I feel like, honestly, just seeing you, like you've said many times, like I'm a savage, like when it comes to like your content or like how you just show up or like, like, I don't care if people unsubscribe because it's creating space or like I'm gonna be on IG every day. Like, I think that's what helped me kind of like step more into me because those models are important to see and to see you just like, yeah, like unapologetically just own your shit and own your voice and just share, it gave me permission to like, yeah, I can do that too. And like face whatever fears I have or whatever blocks I have to stepping into that because there is that deep knowing that, yeah, I'm really good at what I do. And I've created an incredible program. And like I'm exceptional in this area. And when you step into your purpose and when you step into what you're great at, like yes, you're going to have doubts and you're going to have fears, but it's like, if in the end I truly want to build this thing I'm saying I want to build, then I gotta move past whatever those blocks are. So honestly, I just think that seeing you as someone who feels aligned to my values and as someone who I feel is authentic in their way of operating and being and doing business, it was just another model of showing me that like yes I can be in my values aligned kind of way of operating, but I can also be a fucking savage and I can I can just like own my voice and put it out, and the people who want to listen will listen and the people who don't want to listen, they will not, and I don't have to worry about that because it's not anything that I can actually control. And I loved when you taught about like you call them lurkers, I started calling them observers, but like just even knowing that like, oh yeah, there are people watching me who are not engaging in the content, they're listening, they're watching, they're witnessing, I'm speaking to them as well because I'm that person. I'm an observer. I never engaged in your content. I didn't even barely know who you were, but my friend told me about you. I looked you up. It was what I needed. So I went straight to buying. Like I got on the call with you and then went straight to buying. Like there are those people out there. for me as well. And people who signed up for this round are like, I've been following you for years and have wanted to sign up. I followed you before I was even a mother. And then I became a mom and knew I wanted to join your program. So it's like, yeah, I don't even know this person was around. So I think just again, those things help me move past those little blocks that can become big blocks, that keep us stuck. And I think just seeing you and witnessing your process and like learning how you've thought about things and feeling like you're genuinely like authentic person who is both spiritual, but also you're about your money too, like me. I'm like, okay, this feels good, and this is possible because you're doing it. That means that I can do it. So I feel like that's partly why I signed up, because it's like you want to see someone who looks like you, feels like you, who values things the same way, who's doing it. That's like why we exist, right? It's like that inspiration, to show that it's possible.
Yeah, thanks so much for saying this. Some things that were coming through, and remembering our talks in our private channel in the mentorship program is that you had really owned your magic. Like you
Mm,
had come from the world of business strategy and numbers. And I remember right from the beginning, you being like, hey, like I could easily get stuck in this, but that's not why I'm here. Like, let's
mhm,
weave this. And I think that's the medicine that both you and I bring to our clients is this combination, this weaving. And it's your program is that as well, of like,
mhm,
how do we be be a mama, and really
mhm.
that's our natural expression, but also not give up on our dreams and have
That's
this
right.
plan, sacrifice one for the other. And when I think about who my dream clients are, it is people who want to weave and have both the magic and the
Mm,
money. Well, that's
yep,
alliteration, but the
for
magic and the
show.
the money is
Yep,
important for us to be
yep.
able to continue to thrive. And you really owned that magic. You stopped looking at the numbers, and the numbers actually became magical. Like I'm noticing why you wanted the seven
Mm.
generations, seven clients. There was another seven. I wrote
Yeah,
seven,
I'm in
but
cohort 7.
yes, exactly. And next round for me is cohort 7. It's like, okay, really, like numbers also are magical. They're not this
Mhm,
goal that we need to set that we punish ourselves if we don't create. And I'm seeing the smile on your face if you had this goal of 7, but 6 is also a very, very beautiful number. And it's a number of pregnancy, which if you're helping
mm,
mamas, that's
mm,
really cool as well. But I was wanted to touch on, yeah, this channeling, because what you've been able to own is like, right, there's magic going on beyond our physical like knowledge and what this little human wants, and there's
mm.
something deeper. And I wanted to know if you wanted to speak on that a little bit. What's your particular magic and the things that you learned about your channel over our time together?
What do you mean, my magic?
Yeah, well, magic is a very broad term, but we talked about the money, and you've definitely made it, I guess, around a $40,000 launch.
Yeah, it
But
was like 33, 34,000. Mhm,
wow, 33 also sacred number. Very cool. So the money's there, but the
mhm,
magical thing that I'm speaking to is this channel. This channel that we can kind of go,
mm,
oh, channels are woo woo. Channels are these things that like these people that exist that channel from like a specific being. And what I speak
mm,
to often is that we're all this channel. And the yogic tradition will say we have this channel, this central line, our central nervous system. And
mm,
what came from what I saw from you is that you started to channel your content. You started to become a channel of
mm.
your words, and more so own that you already were. And if you'd like to
Yeah,
speak to that.
yeah, yeah. I feel like I've definitely always been a channel, but it's about trusting that. And I think again, I learned from you because you had like just kind of like side comment mentioned that you channel your content, and I had never thought about that. But when I like reflected on my own writing style, I realized, oh yeah, I do channel a lot of my content. And you said, oh yeah, I write a lot of my stuff in my notes on my phone. And I was like, oh yeah, I tend to do that too. So again, it was just like affirming the things that I was naturally doing, but maybe questioning whether or not that was the way or the right or wrong way. And so I think you, again, just doing what you were already doing helped me see that, like, oh, my natural inclinations to like kind of channel my newsletters or my writing on my phone first and then putting it in something to like edit and clarify, like it just gave me permission to just, oh yeah, let the channel be open to just write, to just express. And that has been a big kind of goal and intention for mine over the last few years, is to like give myself permission to freely express myself. And that is letting my channel be fully open, because I am a channel, like I can channel a lot and it's part of my gift. I'm a seer. Like I channel a lot for my clients that my mamas that I work with, you know, and I'm a visionary. I can see, and so a lot flows through. But I think what you modeled was that you can have a business and you can kind of be a spiritual person, and they can align. They don't have to be at opposite ends. And that's what I'm trying to build. And I think, again, seeing you do it, I was like, yes, okay. So I can just channel like in my business, in my writing, even though I'm not promoting myself as like a spiritual guide or teacher. Like I don't present myself in that way. But I am a spiritual person. I'm very connected to my ancestors and my beliefs and my channeling abilities. So I think just like being able to bring that into the day to day of my business was hugely impactful and like liberating, honestly. And that's how like I was able to, you know, write 29 emails and get on IG, back on IG, and like start a podcast and like do all these things that I've been wanting to do. But you know, again, it's just like sometimes there's those little blocks that like when we can see a different example or we can reframe it, it just opens up the floodgates. And that's what I feel like happened. I feel like a lot of floodgates opened in the last 5 months.
Oh, wow. Liberating is what I wrote, what I heard, and trust. So when we're
Yeah.
talking about what it really takes, sometimes people think, oh, I'm going to come into a program like Christina's and I'm going to just get all this strategy and get these spreadsheets and like finally
Mm,
systemize, which you did. You
hmm.
had like 1,000 times better spreadsheets than I've ever created, because that was a goal of yours, to systemize.
Yeah.
And it was unique to you. That's why it was so
Hmm.
beautiful, unique to your beliefs
Hmm.
in the mass wheel. It was magical. But what I'm
Mm,
hearing also is the magic in trusting our voice.
mm,
When we trust our voice, that and we allow whatever wants to be expressed to express through, this is tapping into something deep, something magical that oftentimes we can't put into words. But I have made it my mission to articulate what is this mystical
mm,
side of things that make this 3D realm so juicy, so alive, so like why we chose to really be here as an
mm,
ancestor. So
mm,
like you are that healed ancestor for 7 generations forward, and
mm,
that's big. And trusting that your voice is a part of that, that
mm.
is what I'm hearing is truly liberating. So thank you for going on this journey with me of like playing with both the strategy, both the systems and the tangible things, and the setting those goals, and being willing to look at the money and the
Mhm,
numbers without scolding ourselves, but then
mhm.
also willing to look at the mysticism and the magic that can occur when we surrender, when we trust. And you stepping into that unified field, that masculine and feminine,
Yes.
yin and yang, like you are such a model, talking about model, you're such a model for your mamas. And I
Mm,
wanted to end our discussion on that, because you've talked so much about it. And sometimes we think, okay, yeah, I'm going to learn so much in the program. I'm going to
mm,
join the plan, the Wild Mama Master Plan. I'm going to learn so much. And
mm,
you're going to join the Conscious Creative Business Immersion, and you'll learn so much. And you will.
mhm,
I
mhm.
have 6 modules. Tiffany just refilmed her course content for the
Yeah, eight,
road.
eight, 8 modules. Yeah, I just re-recorded everything.
Like what? Like that takes some magic and commitment.
Yeah.
And so they're going to learn new things. They're going to be moved, but that
Yeah.
piece, learning, but also the high value guidance, us becoming high value guides, is trusting that our wisdom and our presence and our coaching and our reframes and our modeling is just as valuable, if not more valuable, than a course that someone may or may not open. And you there for your clients at that level, like, wow, this is why people are hopping into your program like hotcakes, they say. They put it up like hotcakes. That's a term? But yeah, I wanted to talk about end with what really is your program about, who it's for, all the magic that you're creating in these modules and for your people, and give you that space to like shine in that area.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, um, yeah, I mean, I guess for me, one of the things that inspired me to create my course outside of like, serving mamas was, as a mama, I had been um searching for years on like figuring out how to heal, figuring out how to find my purpose, figuring out how to make shit happen. Because even though I'm very much a doer now and I do finish what I start now, that was not my story, years ago. I was a perpetual starter who didn't finish things. I was coping in really, unhealthy ways through like just binge watching TV and eating lots of sugary foods, just like struggling because I was living in Chicago. I wasn't happy living in Chicago. I became a young mom, like at 20 something, through an arranged marriage. Like I had so many things to work through. And every place that I looked, I felt like it was so compartmentalized and didn't address me as a whole person. It's like if you have mental health, needs, you go here. If you have, whatever professional development goals, you go here. If you want your physical health, you go here. And it's just all separate. And there's nothing that like saw me as like a whole person. And then every time I would pay thousands of dollars to join a course, I was always sorely disappointed by how terribly designed these courses were. But because they had the marketing and they had the right words and whatever, they were getting all these people to sign up. And I just felt like they sucked. Like there was no value here. And there wasn't any guidance. There wasn't any true guidance and culture. There's very few courses and programs that I have done that I have felt like what I paid for, I actually got. Yours being one of them, and yours being the highest that I paid for any of them. But I do feel like I got what I paid for. So part of my goal in designing a program was to have an exceptional program that was actually valuable, because I felt like it was so out of alignment that people were marketing and selling at really high prices and failing to actually serve people the way that I felt like people deserve to be served. And then for me as a mother, to actually be able to serve mamas in the way that we actually need. So I knew I wanted to create a program for a long time. I did not actually know that I wanted to serve mamas. I just knew I wanted to help people heal and navigate this like ethereal place and also reach their goals, because I feel like a lot of the spiritual kind of communities are too in the air. They're not grounded enough. And they're not practical enough. And then I think some of the like business courses, they're also not practical enough. They're not like thoughtful in their process of how to move people along. So I knew that I wanted to do both. I wanted to really be a great facilitator and guide and like bring in that spiritual piece around healing and trauma. But I also wanted the practical approach of like creating a master plan. And so I, eventually realized that it was mamas that I wanted to serve, because in reflecting on myself, I'm like, I've been doing all this for 10 plus years and I'm doing it as a mama. Oh shit. Yeah. There's probably a lot of other mamas out there who also have dreams, who also have desires, who also have ambitions. And the world is just telling them, no, you're a mama now. you need to sacrifice yourself for everyone else. You need to be a martyr. You need to prioritize everyone else's needs over your own. Girl, you cannot dream. You got babies at home. And all of that, like, is so crushing when you are someone who has high dreams, high ambitions, visions for your life, deep desires to change like family cycles and like generational health and wealth and well-being and all of these things. It's like you expect me to just let all of that die. And so many mamas, because there's no clear path or a model or a way, and because we're navigating so many things at one time, it's actually easy for us to just like give in and just say, okay, like I'm going to relinquish my dreams in order to meet these unrealistic standards or these like ideas about what it means to be a mother. And so I created my program because I wanted to show that it is possible to be your whole self as a mama, to be fully in your just being and in your dreams and in your visions, and actually be doing something about that and be a great mother, right? And be a service to others without sacrificing yourself. So my program, I mean, Wow Mama in general, my business is all about that. It's just showing that that's possible. It's uplifting mamas. It's like, aligning us back to the seasons and, the natural rhythms and seasons of nature. But the program is a 3-month cohort program that really helps mamas to like truly move through those areas of stuckness and truly shift that thinking. And so it's broken into 8 modules. And week 1 is all about kind of like your ideal day, kind of starting to uncover your visions, thinking about your why, thinking about your journey to this moment. And then week 2, we get into the 3 core pillars that I think everyone needs in order to be truly in alignment with themselves, which is your vision, your values, and your whole self. And on the medicine wheel, there's the directions above, below, and center. So above is grandfather sky, and that's where your vision is. Below is grandmother earth. That's where your values are. At least this is what I've created. And then the center is like your whole self, and it's where peace resides. So we come into alignment with our vision, our values, and our whole self. And then week 3 is all about facing your reality, which is the hard shit that people don't want to do. And so, in order to move through your all the hard stuff, we really have to know who we are. We have to know kind of where we're going in order to have motivation to move through the trauma, which is what I've learned through my own journey. And then once we get through there, we come into a rest week, and then we get into alignment, and then it's all about master planning. We map out our master plan, we create our success rituals, and then we actually take action on our plan. And I don't know if I have my own book, but oh yeah, here. It ends with a printed out actual mama master plan, because life is difficult and you actually can forget who you are. And so by having a physical book that really outlines who you are, what you want as a mama, it's something that you can come back to and constantly align to, because it's a lifestyle. It's not something that just like you do my program and then that's it. No, you do my program and then you go live your life and you figure that shit out. Using your vision, your values, your whole self as a filter for making decisions every day. So I mean, it's an incredible program. And like when you were talking about, people signing up and, not doing the course, my course is designed very strategically in a way that people who start my program finish my program, and everybody goes through the course and my content is dripped so no one can move ahead. We're all in the same, weeks together, and they consume the content on their own. But every week we have our coaching call, and that's where the accountability comes in. Because I understand mamas, I know what we need, and we need flexibility, but we also need structure and accountability. And so I've structured my program in a way that helps mamas know that they can not only start, but they will finish. And we take a lot of imperfect action in order to finish. And I'm very proud of that retention. Again, that's very important to me. I don't want to take people's money and not actually help them see through the journey. And so that's why there's that application for my program, because I'm not willing to just have anyone in my space, because it's a partnership. And I think that the whole high value guide, it's about the partnership. It's not about I'm guiding you and telling you what to do. It's about, you know, that you want change. I have a lot of insight. And then we have the curriculum that's centered on the sacred medicine wheel to support us. It's those things coming together and then being in community with other mamas. That's the magic. It's the things together. It's the collaboration together that actually facilitates the real change and transformation. And that's why 50 plus mamas have done my program and have finished my program. So, you know, it works. So yeah, I said a lot, but yeah,
A
that's the
lot
mama
of
master plan.
a lot of great things. Like, I want to reflect what I heard as well. What I'm hearing is no mama left behind. And that's like
Yeah,
really
yeah.
such cool, it's such a valuable thing, because there are so many programs where you do hear that there are coaches out there that are just great marketers, but they're
Hmm.
not that great of facilitators, or they don't
Yeah.
care about their clients like you and I actually care about our clients. And
Hmm.
so I'm hearing that, like, wow, if you're a mama and you like have a big dream and you don't want to sacrifice motherhood for your dreams or your dreams for motherhood, like,
Hmm.
how can anyone in my audience get in touch with you to find out about the next round of your program?
Yeah, I think, I mean, the easiest, just email me, tiff@wild-mama.com. You can also join my newsletter, but again, similar to you, I talk to my people. Like, it's not a, you don't come into the community and you're just like an ethereal person or like another follower. Like, so if you're genuinely interested, just email me and we can just talk. Because again, it's about the relationship and partnership, because we have to know that we can work well together. You can follow me on Instagram at the.wild.mama.project. But I think getting on my newsletter and emailing me directly is like the best way, because I'm a person, I'm accessible, and I want to know who you are. And I do really, really care about the mamas that I work with, and you know, want to be of service and value. So for anyone who's genuinely interested in connecting, those are probably the best way. I can send you my newsletter link after if folks want to subscribe. But yeah.
Yes, I will leave all these links available wherever this interview ends up. It's going to be dispersed,
Yeah.
beautiful things, and it'll be easy access for people to get on your newsletter, because I'm on her newsletter, and these words are potent. And when we get to share our stories, when we own our channel, and we really understand that we are high value guides and there's a spectrum, but we will call in not just any clients, but clients that are soul aligned, clients that are
Hmm.
joy to work with, clients that are committed and are really working with us for the right reasons, not about
Mm,
what Tiff can do for mamas, but about how she can hold space for mamas, how we can hold
mhm,
space for each other to
mhm,
rise. And we need each other. And I
mhm,
learned so much from my clients, and you in particular. And so I wanted to reflect that to you now, of like, wow, what an inspiration to be able to coach and guide and give you those little nuggets that
mm,
made a difference in your launch and in your confidence. And it is about that. At this stage,
mm,
it's not about needing somebody to rewire our whole minds, but it's about that
mm,
space that we get to hold for each other. So thank you for
mhm.
your commitment, and thank you so
Yeah.
much for this interview and for
Yeah.
your high value guideness. That's a thing.
Yeah.
It's been so
No,
lovely
I
to
appreciate you. Thank you. It was an honor to chat and talk. And yeah, we still have 3 coaching calls, which is amazing. Like, we're not even done yet.
know,
Oh
right?
my God.
I
So
know. Thanks for coming on early, because we do still imagine what can happen in 5 months. 3 more calls, like touching on like how the refinement after you meeting all the goals that you've set for yourself, been
yeah.
such it's like, wow, to really know that I can call in my dream clients as well. You really follow
Yes.
through all the things that you desire, and you were vulnerable throughout the process. So anybody watching, like, really, if you have a dream, if you have a commitment, if you have the desire to follow through, then we're going to go great places together, because I cannot commit I did not commit for Tiffany. Like, I may have like checked in on her if I didn't hear from her for a week, but like, I was not the one committed to her vision, but I was. As soon as someone signs up on me, with me, I commit to your vision and holding you to it. But the real commitment comes from you and comes from within. So I want to thank you for that. And the last question, if you have any words of advice for someone on the edge of jumping into that next level program, or getting guidance, or getting support, what would you say to them?
I mean, the thing I was just going to say was, like, money and paying a high price is not what's going to solve your problem in your business. It's not what's going to get you there. It's, for me, about being very clear about what you want and need and committing to the process. And so I think for me, I did my due diligence of really finding out, like, who Christina was, and, trying to figure out if we were aligned, because I have done so many business programs and cohorts and all of these things, and have been, like I said, sorely disappointed. And because this is a significant investment, and it was for me 4 years into my business, it was a significant investment for me to make. I needed to know that we were going to work well together, and that this partnership was going to be fruitful to me. And I also had to own what I was and wasn't looking for. I wasn't just trying to be chosen by Christina. I was trying to make sure, based on my goals, is she the person who can help me in a way that I feel is truly aligned? And so I think it's really important to know what you're looking for, and not be out here just like searching and, like, throwing money at the problem. Like, really think about the relationship that you want to establish. And I think if you do want to build a relationship with someone and have a true partner, I do think you're great, Christina, for that. Because again, I knew what I needed, and I didn't need a group. Even though I valued our group calls, that's not why I was signing up. And so for some people, that's what you need. You need that community. You need that, the group thing. I knew I needed one-on-one coaching, and I wanted a different approach to marketing. And so I loved your curriculum and just your reframing and just your different approach. That was more aligned to that soul-led kind of framing. So that's my advice to people, is to just be thoughtful and ask great questions and make the investment, because you have some goals, and you know where you want to go and how this is going to help, because we are building a business. So you do need to be, like, thoughtful in that business decision. But yeah, other than that, I feel like, I think we talked on it, just the reality of what it actually takes, and it doesn't happen overnight. So being committed to the process, pacing yourself, and, like, not forgetting to enjoy your life while also building your business.
Yes. The last thing that's coming through is all those times where you're like, yeah, thanks for the call, I'm heading off to the beach with the kids. It's like, you are a woman that knows how to enjoy her life, and
Yes.
it's like, you're so authentic, and that's why we aligned. It's like, what you see is what you get from both of us.
That's
And
right.
authenticity is key. It's like, I'm not just going to tell other people to enjoy my life and then not enjoy mine. And so I love that vision of you at the beach after our calls, and
Yes.
your commitment to your joy has really made a difference in our group, in our community, and in my life. So thank you for being an amazing client. And I can't wait
Oh,
to talk to you. I think tomorrow our call is.
yeah.
Here. All
Yay.
right. Well,
Thank you.
to go, and I'm
Okay.
gonna reach out to you if anybody wants to work with you. Reach out to either one of us, and
Beautiful.
let us know. All
Okay.
right.
Bye.